Maybe I'll just stand over here and talk into this one. So what's up, everybody? I'm Adam. And the plan for today is to talk about building for Vision Pro with Godot, which is a game engine. If you've never heard of it before, if you're one of the people saying, what the heck's Godot? Don't worry, I'll explain. But first, I want to set some goals for the presentation. I have 3 goals. The first one is for everyone. I know not everyone is a game developer, game designer, but I think in this talk, you might gain some new insights about this device, its capabilities, and some opportunities building with it. For at least one person here, I want to find one person here who will make a game for Apple Vision Pro with Godot. Just one person, I'll be happy. And last goal for me, I want to conquer my fear of using the Vision Pro in public. So I'm going to ask you to help me with that now. I'm going to do a quick demo. And what I'm going to show you is Defend Cow Castle, which is our first Apple Vision Pro game that we made with Godot. So I'll hit play while I do this. Okay? All right. Yay. All right. If at some point you're not able to see what's behind me, I guess I can look up here. I don't know. Wait, one thing that no one has done that I really want to do is take a video. So let's do that. All right, it started. Can everyone put their hands up? Woo! All right. Awesome. Okay. Enough of that. Let's go back to here. All right, so Defend Cow Castle. Let's open it up. I think maybe I'll put it here, and I'll try to not step off the stage. What's that? Oh, is it blurry? Yes. Let's see. I thought it was just me. Is it better? Is better? A little bit? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you. Support crew. All right, so this is Defend Cow Castle. This is the game we made. I want to point out a couple of things. It is in a volume window. So I can walk around it. It's yay big. But you're supposed to play it from one side. So maybe one thing you have to figure out when you make a game for Vision Pro is, do you want it to be a game that you can play from any side or one side? This is kind of like a screen, but it's 3D. I'm just going to start it. So it says, an alien invasion is coming. Tap here. That's the queen cow. That's who we're defending. And here's the tutorial. It says, drag and place a cannon on this square. So if I look, you can see the cannon lights up. Now I can pinch, and I can move it around, and I'll drop it there. And then if we had the sound on, there would be some scary music letting you know that the invasion was starting. And this guy just walks towards you, and the cannon shoots. If you ever played, there's an old game called Plants vs. Plants vs. Zombies. This is basically just a ripoff of Plants vs. Zombies. We'll play maybe 2 levels. So you survived level 1. Yes, good job, guys. Let's do 1. Now we have the cow. The cow doesn't really do much yet. The cow is basically just the defender. It just kind of stands there. And let's see. One other thing I guess I can show is you can also, in addition to indirect touch, you could do a direct touch. So if I actually touch the thing, I can move it that way. And I guess you could play it from a different angle. Let's see. I think Devin mentioned that moving the cards in his app, he found out that he had to multiply the movement. So one thing I figured out working on this was, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, I think we're gonna No. Okay. So we failed to defend Cal Castle, but that's okay. Right now, there's just 4 levels. So it's a very short game. It's almost like a demo. But if people play it and leave reviews, we'll make more. Yeah. Okay. So back to presentation goals. Thank you. For me, we can scratch that off. Fear of using Vision Pro in public is gone. Okay, so a little bit about me. Whoa, holy crap, we're big. That's me and my brother. I live in Los Angeles. My brother lives in Berlin. If you want to keep up with what we're doing, I post on Twitter or X. It's just @Adam Waters. Sorry, I don't have a QR code, but I guess you can probably figure out how to get there. Okay, and Kevin and I are 3Z Studio, and we started out making games and apps for iOS. So the first one we made was a creative 3D tool, and the idea was to make it really easy for people to make 3D animations for like Instagram or short video. So I'll show this TikTok. This app makes it so easy to make 3D animations. Ding. And this is called 3Z. And the idea was to make it really simple to customize a t-shirt and also do stuff like add logos. So if you have a transparent PNG of your logo, you can put it in, it makes it 3D, and then it'll spin around. All right, so that's 3Z. You think it's cool? All right. Nice, okay, yeah, download it, 3Z. It's kind of old and buggy, but. Okay, the next thing we started working on together was called Multijam. And Multijam was, the idea was to take some of what you learned making 3D art in an app and make a game. And apply the same kind of flexibility where you can just open something from your camera roll and bring it into a game. So this is Multijam. I made this obby on my phone. Oh. Too small? Okay, sorry everybody. So yeah, this little guy, you can run around and play, but also you can design a level, do this all on your phone. You can use GIFs. Now he's making a hat. And then you can play and share with friends. So that was Multijam. We worked on that for like a year. And then we decided Vision Pro is coming out. We had already been thinking about Vision Pro with these games. Like you can imagine, we were doing 3D apps on iOS. So we kind of were thinking like, well, what would this be like on Vision Pro if it was a Vision Pro app? And so we got to defend Cal Castle. So quick audience participation. I'm curious about this crowd. Can you raise your hand if you've ever made a game? Cool. All right, lots of people. Maybe, can you shout out, how did you make it? What did you use? Unreal? Okay. Okay, yeah, Godot, yeah, it's tricky. Or it can be. I haven't used Unreal really. Okay, next question. Raise your hand if you've tried to make a game. Similar? Okay. Why did you stop? Okay, you can't shout it out too hard. And last one, raise your hand if you're curious about making games. Yes, okay, we're in the right room. Cool, excellent. Okay, so Godot Game Engine. If you're still wondering what is it, let's start with what is a game engine? What is a game engine? This is my definition, a set of tools and libraries that make it easier to create and ship games. It's a little bit easier to think about it if you just ask like what are the common components. So code libraries with common game code, a visual scene editor for arranging game elements, a way to test your game, and tools to export your game for one or more platforms. Okay. So that's what a game engine is. Now, what makes Godot special? Godot is cross-platform, meaning you build it once and you can ship it to iOS, Android, Mac, PC. It's free to use, which is really awesome because we like free stuff. Yeah, so Godot is free to use, and the reason why it's free to use, or part of the reason it's free to use, is because it's open source. So you can get on GitHub and you can go to the Godot repo and you can read all of the code that makes Godot work. That's the entire project. And in fact, really cool, the founder that started Godot, he's been doing a series of YouTube videos explaining the source code. So you can find out from the person who started it how things work. It is popular and growing. This is a graph of interest over time. You can see that Unreal is the king. Unity is the king, but has been a little bit more flat. Godot has been growing. Usually if you look up like online, what are the most popular game engines, you'll find Unity, Unreal, Godot. And this is a tweet from the founder of Godot about that. And this is, in my opinion, the most fun. It's the most fun game engine to use. I find it pleasant, so I recommend it. Okay, I'm going to really quickly jump out of I'm taking a risk here. So let's maximize this. Okay, so just really quickly, this is Defend Cow Castle in the editor. So it's in Godot. And I'll just point out I'll point out the different parts of the editor. This is the scene editor, so you can put your game objects there. If I click on something, then it will be selected in the node hierarchy. So this is everything that's in the scene. And once something's selected, then I can change its properties over here in the property editor. It works like Blender or Photoshop or like any other creative tool. You know, game engines are kind of all the same. You also have the idea of prefabs. So if I go to, let's see, where's the queen? We'll do this. If I go to the Vision Volume Camera, it'll open this other window and show, it's just a box. That's actually how we define what gets rendered to RealityKit whenever you're making a game. And the last thing I'll show is there's also scripting. And this is GDScript, which is one of several languages you can use if you're using Godot to make a game. I find it pretty good. It's like Python, and it works. Okay. Let's go back. All right, so maybe you're thinking, wow, I thought that the only things that you could use to build for Vision Pro are RealityKit and SwiftUI and the native libraries or Unity. And in fact, this is a page from apple.com. Is there feedback for you guys? No? It's okay, never mind. The microphone sounds weird up here. I'm not sure if it sounds weird out there. It's okay? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so from the website, you can see here Xcode, Reality Composer Pro, and Unity. So Unity is the only officially supported third-party tool. But here comes Godot. Yeah. All right, and so the way that we made it work, we built a library called Godot Vision. So build in Godot, run on Apple Vision Pro. And if you want to use it, you would start with the Godot Vision example. And I'll show that really quickly. So here it is on GitHub. It's a GitHub repo. You can clone it and start there. And I'll show it in the editor here. So this is our like boilerplate demo scene. And if I open it now also in Xcode, and I just run it like I run any other project when I'm building, maybe. All right, there we go. So that's running directly from what I have open in Godot. And if I made an update, then it would update here. I won't go through that because it maybe will take a little bit too much time. So yes, that's how you can get started. So that's how you can get started if you want to try it. One thing I'll say about this page is you can see that this is hosted at my brother's GitHub. He's Kevin W. And I'll say Kevin is the smarter brother. And he's the real mastermind behind this library, to be honest. I mostly use it, and we kind of have a feedback loop where he figures out the really hard stuff, and then I try to use it to make a game. And unfortunately, Kevin is not here today because he's on vacation in the south of France. But, all right, Kevin has a message for us. He says, "Bonjour, I made some technical slides for the talk." Okay, thanks, Kevin. All right. 15 minutes. Okay. All right. So the next like 4 slides are probably the most technical of the whole talk. So just bear with me if it's not for you. But I think it's interesting for everybody. It's not that complicated. It's kind of just it's kind of a hack, to be honest. Okay. So we're showing here that there's these 2 loops. There's the RealityKit loop and the Godot loop. And so basically, like if you're running a Godot game, you have a function, you have an update function. And that will be called every frame. So if your app is running, your game is running at 60 frames per second, update gets called, whatever the state of the game is, gets, put to it gets rendered, right? So it's basically update, draw, update, draw, update, draw. But what we want is to have RealityKit be the front end and to be the thing that figures out how to render things, but Godot to tell it what to do. So to make this happen, we run Godot as a headless process, so we don't render it. We just let it run as like a simulation. We let the physics run, but we never actually draw it. And then instead of drawing it, we take the data about the scene and we send it to RealityKit. And any gestures from RealityKit, we send it back to Godot. And you might be asking, wow, it's like you're running everything twice. Isn't that slow? It seems intuitively like it might be slow. But no, it's not slow. Computers are super fast. And the Apple Vision Pro is a beast. So it works. Last couple of details here. To make this work, there were really 3 steps. The first one was we just needed to change the way that Godot was built so that it would even run on Vision OS. We used this really cool library called Swift Godot Kit. And that's actually like the main thing that made it possible for us to do this, was that someone had already done a ton of work to make Godot run embedded within a Swift app. So we didn't have to figure out that part. And by the way, they're also working on making, the person who made this repo is making it so that you can run Godot on an iPad. So once he's done with that, then we'll be able to wear the Vision Pro, have Godot open as an iPad app, and build it live. And then we'll be able to do live reloading and everything like that. And yeah, basically this last bit is just saying that we had to write some code that connects the 2 sides. We had to write some bridge code that basically says, okay, whenever a new mesh or a new node is created in Godot, create one in RealityKit. When it moves, update the position. So that's how it works. All right, technical slides complete. Good job, everybody. If anyone has any questions about all that, please come find me. And just in general, please come find me and talk to me. Okay, so why use Godot for Apple Vision Pro is the next question. Now that you know what it is, where to find it, and kind of how it works. So this is round 1, Godot versus RealityKit. Round 1, yeah. Really that question boils down to why use a game engine. And RealityKit's great. We made a bunch of prototype games with it. This is Cat Tennis. This is just a RealityKit game. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but I think it's pretty fun. But at some point, every time we made a prototype, we'd get to a point where it was getting complicated and difficult to continue without a visual editor. And so the reasons to use a game engine is it makes it easier to organize complex scenes, and it also makes it so you don't reinvent the wheel. So things like a player controller, stuff like allowing your AI NPCs to move around a game world, all of that stuff, someone's already written the code. It's pretty easy to do it with a game engine. So to give you an example, here's a prototype for an adventure game. We kind of want to make something sort of like Zelda, like an old school Zelda game for Vision Pro. So I started, here's a player controller. This little guy can run around. You just pinch and drag, and then you tap to make him swing his sword. And then here is the same game like a week later. We did this like in a week. You have this little guy, he's in a volume. The camera follows him. And these enemies chase after you. So that's one thing we're working on. So we think that there's a lot of fun demo games for Vision Pro, but not very many more ambitious full-on like games. I think we can skip that. Okay. Vision Pro game dev plan. This is my advice as somebody who has tried making things with Reality Kit. I haven't really tried Unity to be honest, so I'm sure it's really good. We just kind of went with Godot. But if you're getting started, I would say the best way to go is first make some stuff with Swift UI and Reality Kit before you try to use a game engine, because then you'll understand the APIs that are actually being used. And I think it's just a good place to start to learn the native stuff. I think this is actually true for any kind of making games for iOS, whatever. And then make a simple game with a game engine, any platform, Unity or Godot, and then make a Vision Pro game with the engine. That way you're not learning multiple things at once. Okay, but which engine? So this is round 2. Godot versus Unity. But more specifically, Godot Vision versus Unity Polyspatial. Those are the two comparable APIs or libraries. And this is, I'm a fair and impartial judge, obviously, for this. These are my pros and cons. So Unity Polyspatial, full-featured. I'm sure it's really awesome. It works pretty similarly. It streams to Reality Kit. It has AR support, so you can do hand tracking already. You can do device tracking. Good documentation. The con is Unity is actually, to use Polyspatial, you need to have the Pro license, at least in the United States. I don't know if it's different, if it's localized. And it costs $2,000 a year. And then I'm not sure about the details, but Unity, I think for different licenses, you pay per install and per sale. With Godot, it's free. You don't have to pay any kind of license fee. You just download it from GitHub, and the code's yours. No one can tell you what to do. You can change it and sell it if you want to. The con is it's still limited and a work in progress for sure. So Godot Vision limitation number 1, the documentation. We're still figuring out how it works. So there's not a whole lot. So if you want to try to use it, you probably would just be messaging me and saying, hey, how does this work? How did you make this part work? But that part's kind of fun, right? Limitation number 2 is it only renders to volumes for now. So the way that Defend Cow Castle works, it's in a volume. The adventure game, it's just in a volume. We want to expand that to have full AR support, full immersive space. We think we know how to. And this is the thing we're trying to figure out right now. We're positioning nodes is one thing. It's really? Okay. Louder? Okay. Sorry, everybody. Positioning nodes is one thing. Getting animations to work is another. So I call this the Nightmare Llama. This is us trying to animate that llama in Vision Pro. It's clearly not working very well yet. But we can fix them. Yeah, sure. I'll try that. Does this work? Okay, sorry everybody. So we can fix them. Right? I can do it. That's the attitude. But it'll be more fun with the community. So back to presentation goal number 2. I would really like to get at least one person to try using Godot Vision to build a game with Godot. If that's you, then that's you, a hero, and we'll say, wow, one of us. Making games is a lot of fun. I really encourage people to try making games on any platform. And if you just keep it light and try to make something in a week, 2 weeks, I think it's, even if you don't sell it, you'll learn a lot and have fun. Okay, so this is a lame Swift joke or programming joke. So a quick time check, 25 minutes, live coding challenge, or wrap it up. I think that we'll actually skip the live coding. I was going to add a hat to the bad guy in Defend Cow Castle, but you can just imagine how it would work. I showed you the editor. Yeah. But bonus slides. This is something actually quite unrelated, and to be honest, not even a Godot project. This is actually just Reality Kit. So we saw that we found out that you could do the persona camera, and so then we wanted to make some kind of game or experience using that. So this is called Fish. Well, we have a couple different prototypes. I call it Fish Life. Let's play it. So that's me, if that's not clear. And yep. So we're using the face camera to get the head tilt and whether your mouth is open or not. So we use your face as a controller, kind of indirectly. And so that was pretty fun. We haven't turned it into a real game yet. Another thing that I'll point out here that I like is, and I want to add this to Godot Vision, is we're also rendering to a portal. So it's a volume with portals around it. So you kind of have this mix of, you have the volume 3D, so it's really there, and then you can look out into the distance. And I think this would be a really cool format for a game. I haven't seen anyone do it. I want to make a Mario Kart style game like that. But please, somebody make a game like that. I think it'd be cool. And we made a version of this that is kind of a social game called Fish Chat, or it might be called a chat place. I think it's called a chat place. And so here it is. And you have to compete to eat the food. And yes. And okay, shout out to Bumo. So that's him and I. We met in Fish Chat, and then we connected on Twitter. So I hope to meet more people in Fish Chat in the future. I really do. If you want to try it, there is a test flight. If you have a Vision Pro, it only works on Vision Pro right now, not cross-platform, unfortunately. Yeah, get it. I'm not sure if it'll work. We tried it earlier, and I couldn't connect to the server, but I think that Bumo could. So, I'm blocking it. Sorry. Can you get it like that, or should I move it? Here. What if I do that? What an idiot. Okay. Yeah, so if you download that, come find me, talk to me. In general, come find me, talk to me. Everyone here, if you're interested in games, if you want to learn. I see someone doing arm movements. Okay, yeah, thank you.